Hey guys, so as you can tell, I'm not in the building today, so I'm going to teach today's lesson to you here as well as I can over just a video for you. So I wanted to start out, hopefully you got the two handouts from the back stool. We'll be getting to those in a second. Before we did that, I wanted to go over a type of problem that you see in front of you. It says, determine whether the given value is a solution of the equation. So if you take a look up here, like for number 1, it says 11 equals n plus 6. And then it says n equals 5. So the given value is 5, n equals 5, okay? And we're supposed to figure out if it's a solution, which means answer to this equation. So if we would take this 5 and we would sub it in for n, is this equation true? Is 11 equal to 5 plus 6? If it is, we say absolutely. 5 plus 6 is 11. So that is what we call a solution, okay? If it wasn't, if it didn't work, we'd say it's not a solution. So let's take a look at number 2. Here we have y minus 6 equals 24. And they're telling us y equals 18. If we substitute 18 in here, 18 minus 6 is 12, not 24. So in this example, we'd say, no, this is not a solution. Okay, so again, when we find solutions to equations, it's plugging them in and seeing if it works, if it makes the equation true. Here we have x, remember this means divided by 9 equals 4. So I'm going to take my 36 over, if x equals 36, so I'm going to put 36 divided by 9. Is 36 divided by 9 equal 4? It does, so that is a solution to this equation. Over here we have a coefficient beside a variable. So remember, this means 15 times t. So in this case, 15 times t. Is 15 times 6 100? It is not. 15 times 6 is 90, so this is not a solution to this equation. All right? So before I go any further, I wanted to chat with you real quick. The substitute today is going to be handing out your tests. And I'll be honest, I was a little surprised at the grades, maybe a little disappointed in some aspects, especially seeing that it was open notes, open resources, open study guide. Something I've never done in previous years was to allow a student on a test or a quiz to use all those resources. So I think when you get those back, you'll be able to find some of your mistakes pretty easily. As part of your virtual work, I'll also be posting the answer key with my work to the test. So that you can learn from those mistakes and study from it to make sure that we learn from it and don't make those same mistakes moving forward. But along these lines, grades this marking period I've noticed are, for some of us, are in pretty bad shape. So I've had some kids reach out, what can I do for extra credit and this and that. And I'll be honest, I don't do a lot of extra credit. I really have grades set up so that if you're doing your job, even if you would happen to do poorly on a quiz or a test, you can rebound from it. And hopefully earn, you should be getting at least a C or higher. So if we have D's or F's, most of the time it's missing work or one of the items I'm going to put up here. So I want you to ask yourself this question. Do you complete all your virtual work? Okay, that includes the videos, the notes, it includes the assignments, the extra math, which was supposed to help really boost grades with easy points, but it's hurting some of us because we're not consistently doing this. If that's something you're forgetting to do, put a note inside your laptop that's always there that says extra math so you don't forget that. Second one is a big one. When you're completing your work, are you doing it to the best of your ability? So if I give you a study guide, an answer key to a homework assignment, are you using it to check? And are you working to find your mistakes, or are you just changing answers, or maybe not even looking to see it and checking it before you come to class? So, making sure that we take it seriously, we look to learn from our mistakes. We come to class with questions after we have a homework assignment if we were unsure. The next one is studying and doing extra practice on tough skills. Just like in a sport, if you struggle with something. If I play soccer and I struggle kicking with my left foot, but I do really well with my right, well, I'm going to have to spend time practicing with my left. It's the only time and the only way it's going to get better. Paying attention and focusing during instruction from the moment you walk in, starting that do now, sitting up in your seat, focusing on what we're doing, eye on the teacher, right, or on whoever's speaking. Asking questions and participating are the next two. So I want you to ask yourself each of these questions. Do you do these? If you say, absolutely, I consistently do these, and I'm still struggling, I want you to reach out to me. But I think in most cases, you're able to find somewhere here that you could work on something, right? Asking those questions. You're in a small class this year, 12 kids maybe in your class. Next year, you might be in a class of 30 again. So it's important to learn how to ask questions now, knowing that there's definitely other kids in the class that would have the same questions. And then participating. That includes, doing the examples, following along, doing the examples as I'm doing them on the board, speaking with your partner when it's appropriate and I ask you to discuss something. Sure, raising your hand in class, all of those. So at the end of the day, when we look for the second half of the marking period here and the rest of the year, I really want us to keep in mind that we can't expect full results if we come with a half-hearted effort, okay? So you get out of it what you put into it. Do some of us have to work harder with math? Absolutely, okay? But it's all a matter of, are you willing to work harder? You're willing to do the extra steps and go the extra effort to get the results that you want to see, okay? So I believe in you. I just need you to believe in yourself and do your part. So I want you to take out this handout that you have in front of you, and I want you to pause the video and just complete the first two. All right, so now that you've completed the first two, let's take a look. We're going to use inverse operations. So remember, our goal is always to isolate the variable, okay? So I'm going to switch over here to a different sheet, all right? So we're always wanting to isolate the variable here. So in this case, they took a number and they added 7 to it. In order to get rid of this 7 and get back to the original number, if they added 7, we're going to take 7 away. And remember, showing these steps is just as important as getting the answer at this point. If we take 7 and then we add 7, if we add 7 and then we subtract 7, we end up, they cancel out and we get just back to x. Just like if we had 2 and we added 3, that'd be 5. And if we take 3 away, we're back to 2 again. Okay, so you can see in that example how these inverse operations of addition and subtraction undid themselves. So in this case, we subtracted 7 from this side, and remembering that this is like a balance or a seesaw, if we did it to one side, we have to do it the other, so we'll subtract 7 over here, and x equals, 5. Okay, x equals 5. Now we'll sub it back in and see, is it a solution to the equation? And absolutely, if you sub 5 in right there, you'll see that 5 plus 7 does equal 12. Remember, yes, this is important, getting that answer of x equals 5, but this step right here, this showing that you understand how to balance an equation, is just as important for what we're learning. Over here we have y minus 5 equals 8. All right, we're trying to get y by itself. Well, they subtracted 5 from this number. We don't know what this number is, but they subtracted 5 from it. So if we want to figure out what this number is, we're going to add 5 to it, because that's going to isolate that number, which is in this case a variable. So if you take 5 away from a number and add it back on, you're back to the original number again. If we do it to the left side, we have to make sure we do it to the right side. So we're going to go over here and we're going to add 5. And in this case, I found that y equals 13. So if I sub that in, it says check if it's a solution. 13 minus 5 does equal 8, so we're correct. So again, we need to see this part, but just as important is showing that part. It's showing that these cancel out. Today we're going to move into multiplying and dividing. They work exactly the same way. Prime example, if I have a number like 3, and I multiply 3 by 5, I get 15. If I then take 15 and divide it by 5, I get back to 3 again. So again, inverse operations, undoing each other. We could do the same example if we divided first and then multiplied, they'd undo each other. So here we have 5w. Keep in mind, 5w means 5 times w. So here we have 5 times w equals 40. If they multiplied by 5, we're going to divide by 5 to undo it. And remember, 5 divided by 5 is 1, which 1w is just w, so those really just cancel out. Over here, if we did it to the left, we're going to do it to the right. 40 divided by 5 is 8. If we substitute in, 5 times 8 is 40, so we're good. Now, at any time in the video, if I'm going too fast or you want to stop it or go back and rewatch, please feel free to do so. Here we have w divided by 6 equals 10. So in this one, they divided w by 6. We're trying to get w by itself. They divided by 6. So to undo that, we're just going to multiply it by 6. Okay, so if I take a number and I divide it by 6, and then I multiply by 6, I end up right back here. I'm going to divide it by 6, or in this case, since this is a fraction, I'll make this 6 over 1. This is going to cancel out. Since I divided by 6, then multiplied by 6, they cancel, and I'm just left with w. But keep in mind, if I multiply by 6 over here, I have to do the same thing on this side. 10 times 6, or you could say 10 times 6 over 1, doesn't really matter, is 60. And let's see, 60 divided by 6 equal 10? Absolutely. So that's our answer. So the second handout that you grabbed looks like this. Okay? So on this one, and I'll have to pick ones that are kind of showing clear, I'll do number 6 with you here. Number 6 says 9 equals k divided by 2. So I want you to think to yourself, what are we going to need to do? Well, they took k and divided it by 2. That's what I need to isolate, the k. If they divided by 2, I'm going to multiply by 2 to undo that. And I'm going to put 2 over 1. Since this is written as a fraction, I'll write this as a fraction. Okay? So they divided k divided by 2, so I'm going to multiply it by 2 over 1, which is the same as 2 divided by 2.
So dividing by 2 and then multiplying by 2 leaves us with just k. But remember, if I do it to the right side, I have to do it to the left side. So I multiplied by 2 over here, I'm going to multiply by 2 over here. And 2 times 9 is 18. Now before I circle it, I'm going to substitute and make sure I'm correct. I'm going to find if this is in fact the solution. So I'm going to substitute for k, I'm going to put 18, and 18 divided by, because that fraction bar is divided by 2, does in fact equal 9, so I'm good. Take a look at 7. 4h equals 52. Well, remember, 4h means 4 times h. So if we multiply a number by 4, to undo it, we'll divide by 4. Those two will cancel. Now I go next door, and I do the same thing, 52 divided by 4. Now you could use a multiplication chart. Some of you will be able to do this in your head. Some of you might go off to the side here and set up 52 divided by 4 and do it that way. We'll figure out that h equals 13. Sub in, does 4 times 13 equal 52? It does. So we're good. So again, notice in these problems, this part is absolutely important. Right? That's important. But just as important right now is this idea of showing that you understand how to balance, showing that you understand that these are going to cancel. Okay? Let's do one more. Let's do this one. This 13 equals 7 times plus d. And I know this is a little blurry here, but you have it on your paper. 13 equals 7 plus d. So again, we want to isolate the d. They added 7 and the d together, so we're going to subtract 7. That's going to cancel out, and we end up with d. And on the other side, 13 minus 7 is 6. So I'm saying d is 6. So I substitute 6 up here. 7 plus 6, is that 13? It is. So I circle it. All right? So what I'm going to have you do, and if you need any help, just ask the sub or ask a friend. I want you to complete the rest of these 10 problems, okay? Making sure that we not only get the value of the variable, but that we show that we've balanced the equation. Remembering that this equation is like a seesaw. And whatever we do on one side, we have to do on the other. Our goal is to get our variable alone on one side of the equation. So I'm going to have you complete this, and I want you to show it to the sub. She will check over it, and then she will give you a double-sided handout that will be part of your virtual work. Okay? So, again, if you need to rewatch anything, go back and rewatch it. Please behave for the sub, do your job today, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. All right? Have a great day, guys.